Vishvesha Vishvabhavashi Laya Vishvarupa Vishvatmika Tribhuvanaika Gunadivasa He Vishwavandya Karunamaya Dina Bandho Samsara Dukkha Gahana Jagadisha Raksha Samsara Dukkha Gahana Jagadisha Raksha. O Lord of the universe, you are the creator and destroyer, who hast all forms, whose body is the universe, and who is the support of everything in the three worlds. Thou art worshipped by all. Thou art the all-merciful one, the friend of the downtrodden. O thou, ruler of the universe, protect me, who am lost in the trackless miseries of the Samsara. We speak today on the nature of Samsara. But before we can go into the topic, we would like to spare a few moments of silent prayer for one of our brothers, Steve Berg, who passed away. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Peace, Peace, Peace. Good morning, everybody. Today we speak and try to understand Samsara. We today gathered here are in a way survivors. We have had long travails. We have come through many, many, many things. We have overcome them. As a species, we are the ultimate survivors. Oh yeah. And this journey wasn't easy. We may look pleasant and we may think pleasantly, but our forebears, our ancestors, right down for 100,000 years, we have been prey as well as predators. We have more or less conquered many environments that we live in. We have pushed out species, driven them to extinction by a mad rush to survive. We've been insensitive to them. We don't realize that though we were competing with them, we were also cooperating with them. That has a lasting impact on human life. And this is a symbiotic relationship. Our ancients understood the dynamics of living in harmony with every form of life. We are biased, taking the same spectrum of as, oh, we are humans, or maybe mammals. But everything in this great tree of life is interconnected. And everything has gone through innumerable sufferings and pain. And here we are today. This is the massive tree of life. It is magnificent. It is beautiful. This is the tree of samsara. Many people have difficulty in understanding basic concepts of Vedanta. That includes samsara also. So when you have some contradictory statements like Anoraniyan, Mahato Mahiyan, smaller than the smallest atom, greater than the greatest. What? Sitting here, it travels far. What's that? Vedanta speaks of the oneness of all life. In that, there is no contradiction. The whole spectrum of existence is covered within these definitions. Smaller than the smallest and the greater than the greatest. Samsara also is one such. It is here in our body, in our minds, in our senses, in our lives, in the world outside, everywhere. Tangible yet intangible. Yeah. And that's the reason why when people speak about, oh, science and religion has to get together, Vedanta says, what? Aren't they together? Why has poetry and philosophy be harmonized? They are harmonized. Why do you want to go to heaven? It's here. The same goes for hell also. This whole existence is laid down before you. And this, if it is born in mind, then Vedanta becomes easy to understand. So we can either telescope things, push it, or expand it. Yeah, we get that same explanation, that idea of oneness of the universe. And it is this samsara, this existence. It's a one continuous existence. There are no breaks between species, between people, between things. So if you can understand this, yes, you will bring in the connections of your own life. Some experiences are bad, and some experiences are good, and some experiences are memorable. You've got to tie everything together. The moment you isolate certain things, they're going to create a trauma. So the popular definition of samsara is worldliness. Yes. You're sunk into worldliness, attachments and loves and hatreds, and marriage and professions and work and leisure, everything. So in India, we call it like, in Vedanta, we say, oh, the guy is sunk into samsara. Sunk. Yeah, and you're sunk into samsara. Before that, you're scorched by samsara, or better still, burnt, and then you're sunk into samsara. So samsara is also spoken of as ocean of becoming. Constantly, there are transformations and modifications. So it's called a bhavasaga, ocean of becoming, separate from being. So the technical definition samsara is, yes, sum together and search to expand, to flow, the constant flux, existence, or you can say this tangible existence, existential reality. This also comes into this definition called samsara. Of course, now it's an English word, so they call it just the world. Yeah, but Vedanta knows it has very deep philosophical, mystical interpretations. We generally look at the world with like eyes of innocence. You know, a child grows up, this world, beautiful place, doesn't see the struggles and the turmoil and toil beneath the surface. And we have that kind of childlike simplicity, or maybe you call it ignorance. We think everything is kind of should fit into places. Everything has its place. No. Who makes those decisions? The world doesn't go according to your beliefs, my beliefs also, of course. So once we can understand the basic mechanisms of samsara, then we can transcend the samsara. And that's the idea of understanding samsara. So samsara is also linked with another doctrine, the great doctrine of karma. Everything we do, whatever we have done or whatever we will do in the future, has consequences, either to us or to the world outside. Every thought that we think, every feeling that we express, every action, everything has consequences. And these become our old memories. And these memories form our character. And this is what we carry around. So we won't go into the dynamics of karma. That's a huge. Generally is translated as, yeah, we are born and we are miserable and we die and then we are reborn. But then we were born every day anew. Not only a day, every moment is a kind of a rebirth for us. The old Buddhist doctrine of momentary consciousness is apt here. The previous momentary consciousness flickers off, and before it flickers out of existence, it gives rise to another flicker of consciousness. It's like a constant kind of stream, blowing out, blowing in, blowing out, blowing in. So if you look at it that way, karma, yes, we are born every moment. And then we die every moment, and we are born every moment and die every moment. The Buddhists give us the example of a lamp that's constantly burning. We see the light, the lamp, but we don't realize that the oil that feeds that lamp is burning itself off. So we see the light, okay, fine, yeah. So to live every moment, we need to die every moment. And there's death in our bodies. Cells are constantly dying off, again being renewed. Old thoughts are being churned into new thoughts. Everything is undergoing a kind of a massive transformation. This, in brief, is the law of karma. So, we see this world, yeah, fine, but there are so many factors, so many forces, so many memories, so many thoughts coming from outside, as well as thoughts, old, ancient thoughts of mind. this world is a huge dynamism of mind. Yeah, bodies are just kind of, they're like floating, flotsam and jetsam in the massive ocean of mind. We are more mental than physical. We live our life more in the mind. Though we may not kind of perceive the mind, it's felt. Yeah. And it's not only amongst humans. You find this in all living beings. They can gauge your mind. They can know your intentions. They can know your motives. Ask a dog or cat or birds. They will plumb the depths of your mind and understand you. Oh yes, we somehow have lost this faculty, or maybe it's kind of just overpowered by our day-to-day mundane thoughts. We're not sensitive to the world outside, to this world of the mind. This is samsara. So we have, Vedanta says, Vedanta has a nice little secrets, not dirty secrets, but it has secrets. It says, okay, fine, you all here, but do you know you're living a double life? Me? Not me. Yeah. Not only double, triple lives, quadruple lives. Oh yes. We have all these personalities, sometimes operating quite distinctly from another. And yet they are in the matrix of the one personality. But then it's so fragile. So we do live double and triple lives. So when you look at things from the surface, they may appear so nice. Oh no. Vedanta says, stop. Don't believe that. Look deeper and you'll see. Sometimes the beauty of life, or sometimes the rot of life. You've got to take both. And this is what Vedanta is trying to teach us. Okay, what you need is to integrate yourself. Don't live your quiet, silent, double lives or triple lives. Be integrated. That will lead us to a place which is beyond samsara. So, a person who experiences samsara is called a samsarin. One who has a samsara, one who experiences samsara. It is not something that I am separate and samsara is separate. I am within samsara. I am integral to samsara. Yet, there is a kind of a slight distinction between the external and the internal. The one who has this kind of, this all of us have, is a samsarin, one who experiences samsara. So there are three characteristics of samsara. One is the experiencer, the object of experience, and the process of experience. And this covers everything. Or you can say the agent of experience. Okay, yeah. The sense of I am the doer. And this leads us to another fine-tuning of the idea of samsarin. It is, the default mode of the mind is to think of oneself, self-interest. Obviously, the brain and the body is designed for you to survive in this world, uncertain world. The next thing is, the default mode is think of the past and to imagine the future. These three, can say, pillars of our existence form what is called the world of the samsarin. Most of the time we are either thinking or dwelling on our past, and we want to know what's going to happen in the future. And in the present, we are just more involved with our own idea of existence. This is a samsarin. If you can break one link in the chain, you're free. That's that. Another great doctrines of the way the Vedanta is the doctrine of Maya. So what is Maya? Yeah, it's a long explanation, but I won't burden you with that, because Swami Vivekananda says it takes months to explain and years to understand this doctrine of Maya. It is what has created this world. So it is real. At the same time, this world itself is unreal. It's here today, gone tomorrow. So it's unreal, it's real. But the Vedanta says it's not a combination of both real and unreal. That will make a mess of things. But we do experience the world, as say we are experiences. When we experience Maya, that experience is called samsara. This is now, according to me. There are, of course, books written on, but then this is kind of a brief explanation of, I'm trying to tie in together the doctrine of karma, the doctrine of Maya, and the doctrine of samsara all together. So it gives us a kind of a clear picture of that. So this world is very intricate. And as you know, say there's that element of uncertainty in everything. Werner Heisenberg brought out his, great, you can say, theory of uncertainty, the uncertainty principle and all that. Yeah, we knew that this is what is this. He was kind of troubled after mathematically kind of formulating this thing, and he had to fight much against all the classical physicists to defend his position. Yeah. And even in that Solvay conferences in Copenhagen, he was the one who was trying to put this forward. And though it was a mathematically perfect, you can say, theory, yet he was troubled. And then when he learnt of the doctrine of Maya, that there is uncertainty embedded in the very structure of the universe, he was so relieved. But he had to go to India to do that. So they say, these people, they are finding all this illogical, everything that we talk about as perfectly logical. Yeah, this is samsara. Everything is okay here. Swami Vivekananda says, we are saints in this Maya, we are sinners in this Maya. We are everything in this Maya. Stretch your ideas as far as you can. Call them infinite or by any other name. Yet they are within the domain of Maya. So there's always that uncertainty embedded in the structure of reality that we experience of. It's so intricate. It's like wheels within a wheels within a wheels. My God. Nobody can ever say, I know everything about a grain of sand. that person is a lie. Because if that person knows everything about a grain of sand, that person will know the nature of this universe. Yes. It's an old Indian doctrine of, you know one lump of clay, you know all the modifications of clay. You know the universe. Yata somya ekena mritpindena sarvam mrinmaya vijnanam syati. You will know. And that is what the Upanishads are saying. What is that by knowing which you know everything? Kasminno bhagavo vijnatam sarvam vijnatam. What is that, revered sir, by knowing which you know everything? Yeah. And so to get into that heart of the matter, you've got to cross that wheels within wheels. And, Vedanta in its doctrinal approach is tough. It is so tough, it takes 12 years to master Vedanta. And even then, nobody can ever say, yeah, I know all about Vedanta. No, yeah. So when these Vedantic doctrines are put in story form, oh, they are wonderful. A kind of stories within stories within stories within stories, like that wheel within wheel within wheel within wheels. It's an amazing journey. And then it takes you for a nice ride, and a nice roller coaster. And after taking you for a ride, it brings you back where you started. Why was that necessary then? Yeah, it was necessary for you to break your illusions. So, we have been great storytellers. All our civilization and culture and development and maturity started around those ancient fireplaces. We used to sit down, our ancients, for hundreds and thousands of years to protect ourselves from the cold and from predators. We used to watch each other's back. We never needed to watch our backs. There was someone else doing that for us. So we bonded around that fireplace. We told stories of food, of hunting, of heroism, of various things, of all these stars that they are twinkling in the sky. I remember hearing this part in Carl Sagan's Cosmos, one of the series. He's saying they saw the skies and they thought like we have a fire lit here. Even those guys, they are sitting around their fires. And since they are above, they must be a little superior. They are the gods. And so began our long evolutionary journey into what is called this today's society. We were great storytellers, and storytellers were in great demand. Oh yes, that began our education, our languages. Religions began there. Rituals began there with the stories. All religions have begun with stories. All mythologies are just stories. And when we used to feed those flames, those became rituals. Now we have today fire sacrifices, all these things. It was here. And what attracts us most is the story. Oh yes, just a story is kind of wonderful. See our books and see our movies. Everything is the story. Everything. You have to put things in story form. Our lives itself is a story. And we write this story of life. And we meet other stories. People are stories. And we get the materials from that dynamic interplay of old memories that we've had. And old feelings and old desires and old imaginations. These are internal, materials. And then we have a long history of epigenetics and genetics from everything that we have inherited from our past, those become another layer of our stories. And then we have something called the karmic memories, the memories of all the things that we have done over lifetimes. They are also memories. They are also stories. And the author is a sense of individuality. This is the author, scripting a story. So one day is like a one chapter, and everything is strung together in a broad narrative. This is the story of our lives. But then, all stories need to have a matrix. The social milieu, the society itself. You cannot just write a story because you're part of that society. So your story becomes the story of society at this point of time. Your religion and language and so many things are all kind of playing out through your stories. And then, there are various societies in a given culture, and there are various cultures within a civilization. So each story is embedded in a larger and larger story. Our story is a year. It's like that wheel within a wheel, within a wheel, within a wheel. And yeah, we are in Santa Barbara. Okay, this is a big story. Now, my story in Santa Barbara. Santa Barbara is in California, and the USA, and the world. Wait. That's the one side of the story. Yes, humanity. We are one with humanity. Oh, no. We are one with all living beings. Oh, that's a larger story. Many people think that our individual stories are irrelevant, meaningless. There's no value. Nobody knows our stories. We even forget our own stories. We are fed up with our own stories. We are fed with stories and they're fed up with stories. Oh, yeah, I know all that. No, you don't know. So larger and larger and larger does our story grow. And the more our stories can encapsulate those larger areas, the more relevant our stories become, the more relevant our life becomes, the more relevant and more stronger does our story become. This is the story within story within story. We are living out the story, great story of Samsara. And it's a kind of wonderful thing, Yeah, we are doing it partly subconsciously, partly consciously. But if we just pay attention to everyone around, it will create a new perspective on our lives. When we can read somebody or something externally clearly, with that deeper insight, we will have insight into our own lives. People say, who are you? What are you? What's that? So, who am I? So, the more you know others, their stories, the more you know yourself. And the more you know yourself, the more you know others. Oh yes, both are linked. And this is where you start understanding samsara. This is the great story of life. It's been scripted by each one of us, not only human beings, but each and every life is scripting its own story of survival, of toil, of struggles, of troubles, of joys, of sorrows. This whole thing is one massive story. This is, that massive tree of life that we have begun with. Everything is relevant here. Everything is possible here. Everything has its own space And we must know how to share our space with everything else. We push everybody out of our lives and we'll find ourselves isolated. But that is not how these sages have asked us to get away from samsara, by isolating yourself. No. First thing you got to do is feel yourself with others. That's very important. And if you can do that, this is the basis of morality. Yes, all morality is this. Do you feel that oneness with others? From the highest to the lowest, do you feel? You know, Sri Ramakrishna's mother, when she was pregnant with Ramakrishna, she used to have visions of all the various gods and goddesses. And she used to feel a kind of a love for them, like a mother would love a child. And these gods were like her children. And she used to talk to them, come, take a little rest and leave. Your face is scorched by the sun, it's red. Come. She felt that oneness with not only the visible universe, but with the invisible universe also. She used to go around and to the village and find out if there was anyone yet hungry. It was past noon. And if there was anyone hungry, she used to go first and sacrifice her own food for them. And she used to go hungry. So all our actions depend on this mighty story that's being worked out. We don't need a book. Do you think you need the commandments? Thou shalt not do this, thou shalt do that. What? There are 365 things you're not supposed to do in one day. There are 216 things you're supposed to do every day. So where did you get your ideas? Oh, they bought out some from these stories from these sacred books, you know. Especially in the Middle East and Judaism, you have so many things. Why 216? You have 216 bones in your body. That was the medieval idea of number of bones. So you're constantly, be careful, don't do this, don't do. That's not morality. That's sitting down with a kind of a whip in your hand. Oh, I misstepped, I'll beat myself. Please don't do that. The more you feel oneness with others, that is morality, that is ethics, those are values. So unselfishness is more paying, only we don't have the patience to practice it. But if you just can simply sit down quietly, wherever you are, and feel yourselves with the universe, you are with the universe. You don't need to go about like a crazy person and do this and do that. Send out those thoughts to them. Your silent prayers also helped the world. So we have all our unique stories scripted by ourselves with the materials from external and the internal. And we are living our stories. But there is something that's still missing. Even if we have come up to this level of understanding, okay, this is samsara. This is a mighty tree of samsara. And there are branches and branches. You've seen those kind of, those diagrams of all the species branching off, the human hominids, and we branched off, and there were so many old hominids that have died off, and then we have kind of survived, and we branched off from some earlier kind of ancestor, and they branched off from some earlier ancestor, and now everything is there. So you'll find that right down, we came down to very simple life forms. We have evolved over billions and billions of years. This is the tree of life. And we may not think too poorly of those forms of life. This pandemic has shown us our places. It's how vulnerable we are with something which cannot be even said to be living or even said to be dead. And this will be the norm, don't worry. With global warming, and then we are taking over some of their spaces. These things will be routine in life, though, so we better get used to it. Yeah. Right now, we are in the middle of a mass extinction, the 5th mass extinction of the world. These things don't come in a big blow. Slowly. And it takes away things. Who knows, maybe one day we might be wiped out. And the world will keep on going on, don't worry. We think the world needs us, sorry. We don't need to have so much kind of pride in our own existence. It will work out new bodies and it will start evolving new forms. Oh yes. We think, oh, the world is meant for me. Sorry. Oh no. And besides, we have made ourselves vulnerable. We have only one species, Homo sapiens. If something happens out, you're gone. Everything comes down. Yeah. Like you have the whole colony of bees collapsing, one species of bees collapsing. So this giant tree of life does not depend on you, on this one branch of survival, on the root. And its life is, the more it manifests, the more it's diverse, the more it can survive. Now, like I said, there is a missing puzzle to the whole thing. We have seen this whole tree of life. In the Indian ethos, we come across the illustration of a tree. It's in the Bhagavad Gita as well as in the Katha Upanishad. Urdhvamula madaksha kamesho ashwata sanatana. This mighty tree of life called Samsara, which has its roots upwards and its branches below. It's branching off over and over and over and again. The leaves, the twigs, the buds, the fruits, the flowers are all us. It's growing. Narupamasya tata upalabhyate. You will not be able to comprehend its extent nor its nature. Just impossible. What is its nature? Sorry. You can't do that without that missing element. And what is that missing element? Well, the missing element is, they give the illustration of a tree that's upside down. Where we don't see such trees, upside down trees. Yeah, we have trees. When you go to the edge of a lake, bank of a lake, you see the trees being reflected in the water. They're upside down. No, they're not upside down. You are seeing it upside down. We are seeing this whole tree of samsara upside down. We have not been reading it correctly. We are seeing the story upside down, in reverse. What is the missing element here? It's the Lord Himself. You put that, and then the story, the whole tree of samsara writes itself. Now you're reading the story correctly. Now you're reading your life correctly. Now you're reading all the embedded stories in the society, in culture, in language, and religion. Every story now becomes the story of truth. So long, it was a semblance of truth. It was a reflection. Upside, we are seeing it in reverse. Bring in the Lord, and everything is righted. So this is the wheel within the wheel, and there is the prime mover. That is moving everything. So once we bring in the Lord in our stories, then our stories become real stories. So every pain that we have endured, every suffering that we have gone through is true, is right, is leading us to the Lord. So those Vedantic stories, within stories, like a kind of a huge wheel within wheel within wheel, leads you to that original story. Yeah, you've gone through the whole roller coaster and now you brought back. Yeah. And this is the place where I began the whole thing. This is where you need to come back. Come back to the Lord. Bring that element of divinity there within you. And then everything. So where is that divinity? Smaller than the smallest, greater than the greatest, this reality is lodged in the hearts of every creature. Tamakratu pashyati vita shoko. That is realized by every living being. One who is sinless. One whose senses are calm. What do you mean sinless? Yeah, sin is, it is error. Vedanta does not acknowledge sin. It recognizes an error. We are seeing this whole thing erroneously. It's wrong. It's kind of. Now we've righted it, there it is. So once you dive deep down in your stories, you come down to the Lord of this entire stories. So we've seen what is samsara. We have seen what is a samsarin, one who experiences samsara, this mighty tree of samsara. And there is another concept called a samsarin. That is the Lord himself. That one which is without samsara. So the Lord is known as a samsarin or a samsarin. And the Atman itself is called a samsarin, a samsarin. Here we are. So this is the way to get out. Continue to script your stories, but learn to see it correctly. And once you can do that, there you are. Then you'll know, oh, that was what was missing in my life. We know it emotionally. We know it at a kind of a gut level. There has to be something more to my life than what I see. Like whenever when we see people, what do we see? We see some element in them that transcends their ordinary human weaknesses and frailties. There's something transcendent, a transcendent quality in each one of us. If we can catch that transcendent quality, yeah, we are on the right track. So this transcendent quality belongs to the Lord. And this is what, as the Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita, Tesham eva anuttharta mrityu samsara sagarat. Tesham eva anukamparta. So out of compassion for them, I lift them out of the sea of samsara. So we are sunk into this hellhole of a samsara. Sorry, not a hellhole, I should. Heaven doesn't have holes, isn't it? Anyone been there? Oh yeah, don't worry. In Vedanta, you are a great travelers. And that's why we are storytellers. We have traveled. We've gone to places and we've come down. We've gone all over the universe. Everywhere we have gone. That's why we know the story of the universe. We have gone from the lowest to the highest. We are great travelers. This is the doctrine of karma. We have seen that those stories of the universe, and they are all compressed within us. The whole universe of stories is within us. We represent that universal story. Now bring in the Lord, and you have a perfect story. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. Thank you very much. I hope this was a nice journey. It was for me at least. If you can understand that, one of the meanings ascribed to the Lord is, or the Atman, is fearlessness. One should be fearless. That is what is today required in this world of ours. So next Sunday, Pravrajika Vrajaprana will speak on seeing the world as it is. Yay!